We go straight to you.
So I was telling you, like Kianjai,
yes,
it's unfortunate that I expected the MP for Tigania West to at least even say his women were removed from the market, that is going to be constructed. Zero construction. The president said it on local media that I am constructing Kianjai. And by the way, there are no William Ruto resources in this republic. The unfortunate thing that Mwalimu Julius Nyerere said, if you have to go to your pocket as a leader to do public development, that is corruption.
Okay.
And when he talked about Ujamaa, he said directly that the resources of a nation, if the nation cannot sustain itself, then there is a problem in the systems. So that you have to get 10 million from the president so that you construct. Which philanthropy is that? We are not a poor nation. We are endowed with resources.
Okay.
We are able to, we can convert with means and ways our resources to benefit us. We just need prudent use of resources. He talked about the budget. The budget has no problem, let me tell you. What we have is extravagances in this government. The money we have, used prudently, without corruption, can be able to give us development that is meaningful. And I want to conclude by saying that I want to submit to you, anybody who attended the Mount Kenya meeting was paid. Actually, the member of parliament for Tigania did not have a problem with these people because at least he paid them 1,000.
Did you?
Other members, other members were eating this money. That is why
now,
you
who's
see.
saying the truth in this?
And let's agree.
No, these are liars.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Don't tell us that people were coming in buses and then you tell us those people are not paid. They were paid.
In the fullness of time, we were going
They were called for a meeting at Karen. They were called for another one at State House. He was part of the meeting, he knows.
And let's talk about
they sat down to mobilize.
Professor.
Lastly, allow me also to conclude by saying this. Anybody who impeached Gachagua, nobody used their conscience. Because what the president has said just now, he has said that, oh, I was told I'll be a one term. He asked me for 10 billion. Why was it not part of the issues that were raised in the 11 issues or charges that were against him?
Okay.
Members of parliament were called. The president was in the US. He was calling them via WhatsApp. The member for Tigania, the member for where? Some sycophant from Madeira, another one member of parliament from Muranga.
But
I can tell you.
Gladys Boschule at some point.
And she confessed, an ally of the president, confessed that it is the president who said tutoe Gachagua. The removal of Gachagua had nothing to do. I can tell you it was all the sycophants of Raila, all the sycophants of Ruto combined, and they executed. But let me tell you, the beauty of this thing is this. In the fullness of time, he has said the economy was not doing well in the last 2 years. They were saying Gachagua was a problem. Right now, he's saying the economy is recovering. Removing Gachagua was supposed to be the solution to development. All these roads that I've mentioned to you, there is no stadium in Tigania West, no water in Tigania West.
And of course, that is
Kunene St. Anne Road.
That begs the question.
You know,
these people who are there, the locals, can literally watch themselves being duped, and then again, the president comes to the same place to tell them the same lies, and that they're just happy. And of course, the mountain.
No, this time they were not happy. The sycophants were jeered.
Let me loop in, Professor. Professor, let's talk about the preparations prior to this visit and that press session that the president had with the media. And one would want to ask, was it more or less what you would want to call a press defense, or perhaps was it strategic? Did it actually achieve anything for the president? And do you suppose that then the president, is exposing himself to a sort of low-level political exchange?
It was sad for the president. It did not look good.
Okay.
And he was very defensive, which means that he had been touched somewhere. So by the time he was saying that Gachagua wanted 10 billion shillings.
And that Muturi.
And there was also, I think, Gachagua had said that he had been offered 2 billion.
Yes.
So then, between the two of them, they had discussed billions somewhere.
Yeah, there was a billions discussion.
So we don't know which billion is which. But they had discussed.
Okay.
Because they are both saying they discussed. They just did not agree on the amount.
Right.
Whatever it is. But it was a very sad defense by the president. Because it did not come out very well.
Okay.
And maybe he should have learned from Gachagua that there are some things you don't say.
Okay.
Because one of the problems with Gachagua, he does not know how to keep quiet.
He's a truthful man.
You can talk about that. he should know how to, from the time he became deputy president, some people told him or made him clear, Raila and Ruto are going to get together, and he should watch out.
Okay.
He ignored that. By the time it was happening, he didn't know what was going on. And Raila has explained that part of the reason he ganged up with Ruto against the Gen Zs was to ensure that Gachagua is nowhere.
Okay.
So I mean the whole thing was very, very carefully orchestrated. So the issue of whether the trip was well organized, yes, it was well organized. And some of the cheering we saw was part of the organization, very clearly. And there were buses and the ferried people, that one is not in doubt. And for Mheshimiwa here to deny that facilitation takes places, that's living in another world.
Okay.
Not the one. So
It never took place.
We expect you to be also truthful, honest in some of these things. And it's because it's not a big secret. Okay. It happens. And
I'm referring to a
even in Parliament,
Okay.
when they vote, see, they come out and tell us we were bribed.
Okay.
When they tell them. So,
But we have so many liars.
Okay.
Like this Koibori. Koibori lied that we were given 2 million. He came to apologize in Parliament. It's so embarrassing. You see, when people just are loose, Gachagua does not talk the truth. He is just a loose mouth. That is the issue. That's the bottom line. He just says anything without properly consulting what he's saying. Now, let me revisit.
Do you think the president's counter was necessary now that we're talking about Rigathi,
A constant to say exactly why he had to yield to the pressure to impeach Gachagua.
And you've taken the conch from
because
unceremonious.
Professor here says billions were discussed. So in that conversation, the two of them know how much money they discussed.
Okay.
One of them talks about 2, the other one talks about 10. So there was a discussion, and that discussion could have led to demanding. You see, if you come and say, I brought 47% of the government, I'm the one who put you in office, and I can make you a one-term president. So I need 10 billion.
Which is true in a way.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something.
Okay.
The vote for Mount Kenya during the last election was not a Gachagua vote. Us as Meru people, Gachagua came to my constituency only maybe twice, spoke from up. He doesn't know my people, he has no identity with my people. He comes and says he's from Meru, but that's, to us, when our lady is married from Meru, we say goodbye. End of story. You can't come and say now, I am your son. To Kikuyu, children belong to the woman. It's a different culture. Now,
it was probably a Maliza Wende vote, maybe, because they were telling President...
He identified with us this time.
Okay.
Why hasn't he done anything so far? I mean, before. Why did he do anything before? Let me revisit the 2 projects or 3 projects at the Honorable...
But we can't belabor on that because of...
No, I want to tell him that he does not have the context of the project.
Okay.
Kejai Market is under construction.
0.
Yes, indeed, people are requesting to move on. Thursday, the other
He's from
week,
there, though?
They moved.
I was there yesterday.
Okay.
I'm from there this
I went there yesterday. No construction.
So the problem
But at least it was a weekend. Can we say that
the problem we have with Gachagua people is that they are all liars. They are serial liars and they lie in front of camera. They lie anywhere without sweating. If I lied like him, I'd be sweating.
They accuse the president
profusely.
But the problem we have said,
let me see
it got delayed in procurement.
Can I say this?
Acknowledge that.
He acknowledged.
Proceed, Mheshimiwa, proceed.
Can I actually answer the question? Yeah. Can I say that this project, I've been following the construction of it. It was not given 2.5 years ago. It was mentioned last year on the date of January. That's when the project was promised. It was supposed to have been constructed at 50 million shillings at ESP market. But then the president came and saw how many people, how populous the region was. He said, okay, we need to improve on this project. Okay. Let's make it a 150 million project. And then we did not launch it on that day. So then of course I know, Togoyo knows that there was a consultant hired to look at this market. The modern markets have been classified into 3 categories. There's a 500 trader market, 750 trader market, and 1,000 trader market. Okay. So ours was placed under 750 trader market, which therefore improved on the finance, the total allocation from around 50 million above the 150 that he promised on the day he was there to 305 million. That's a contract. Okay. I have seen the contract. The contractor is on site. The contractor just had a meeting with these people on Friday.
Okay, with all these promises,
so the market is under construction.
With all these promises, of course, Kenyans want to understand: will this touch on the supplementary budget? Will it the
markets are funded.
Align with what the expenditure?
The markets are funded under what I told you. The money for market is available.
Okay, and not just the market, but basically all this development.
All this. Let me come back. I think I need to bring back. To say something about the roads. The Kiridine Miadene Mekinduri Road, through my effort, has been upgraded from Kera to Kena. It's a process. Okay. Initially, it was a county road. Before you could move it from county to Kena, to Kera first, and then from Kera to Kena, it's a process. It has not been given an IFMIS number. It's a process. It's not the president to do it. It's to say this road should be done. Then you, as a member of parliament, you follow the issues. So I'm following up, and this has already been given an IFMIS number under this supplementary budget, and it's going to be done. Now the other one, we have a problem with the contractor. The contractor was not brought by the William Ruto administration. It was brought by Uhuru administration. It's somebody who was protected through the administration because he was the only bidder. And being the only bidder, he also has some relationship with the former administration. And that is, we have decided to get rid of him, come with me. He has had 3 subcontractors who have been, playing games there.
Okay.
And we are getting rid of that contractor in the next one.
Of course, the bottom line is that the people of the mountain want to see whether these promises are going to be delivered. If we're going to look at the 2027 vote, what are the probability that this could switch the minds of the mountain, a mountain that is known to vote in very interesting ways, in the sense that the previous vote, we saw them trying to say that we really are done and dusted with Uhuru, that he is our child, but we have not gotten anything tangible out of his presidency, and therefore Maliza Uende, and now they opted for William Ruto. What are the possibilities that, of course, this is going to be shifted to something that will be aligned to development? Prof.
I think once people have made up their mind, they have made up their mind. And it is not to say that Ruto will not get anything. You get some votes here and there. But once people make up their mind, the need is to ask why is it that they've decided that way. Even in the last election, when they decided not to vote for Uhuru, it was not so much because of they didn't get maendeleo here or there. Of course, that was a concern. But they had grievances which appear to be ignored. And that really hurt. And remember, like those demolitions? And businesses and here and there. And then they were complaining and saying, wait a minute, we thought you were ours.
Right.
And this is happening in your watch. So that's how they said, no, we've had enough with you.
Okay.
It was not so much that there were not those things called development. There were some, maybe a little late, and some good roads here and there. But by the time they were being put there, people had already made up their mind. And Gachagua contributed some votes, but not what he claims.
Okay.
Given that when did Ruto appoint Gachagua to be his potential running mate?
He had traversed the mountain.
It was sometimes, was it May
it was
2022?
Yeah.
And the election was 2 months later or 3 months later.
2 months before the election.
So by then, the shift had been made to Ruto's side.
Okay.
Mainly because there was unhappiness with Uhuru. That's what happened. So the same here. If people are unhappy with Ruto, it will not, they will not change their position simply because a new road is added there or promised and another something there. It's because it's a mind frame.
Okay.
They feel they have been cheated, they have been betrayed, and how do you overcome that? Because it's a question of trust.
Okay.
And people have lost trust in Ruto. And his challenge now is to try to regain that trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe there's not much time to that. But I want us to shift gears a bit. But before we shift gears on exactly that, we witnessed the people who, joined the president in his tour. And amongst them was, of course, the politicians themselves. But what was interesting was to see public servants actually, and in this case, the Inspector General of Police, who actually as well proceeded to say something that came across as though it was more political than what we would have expected, contrary to what we have witnessed in the past regimes, in the previous governments, and understanding very well what the Constitution and other laws of the land dictate as to, the operations of public servants and the independent institutions. What do you make of what it is that the IG did, getting into the podium and equally acknowledging the presence of the president, as well as saying that hana sisi pia hapa tunafanya kazi? What does that speak as to the institutions and, the possibilities of the executive actually capturing the operations of independent institutions?
The IG is the head of the National Police Service, an independent constitutional office. This happened at Narumoro. The intention was because he's a resident of a village next to Narumoro, so that the people of Narumoro are shown that we have one of your own in this office.
Okay.
Remember, the IG is supposed to make very independent decisions. He's actually has a security of tenure guaranteed by the Constitution. His process of coming into office is not an appointee of the president. The president is only ceremonial during his swearing in. This is a person who's recruited independently by the National Police Service. This is what we are saying is a systemic capture of institutions. So that you want the National Police Service to be under you. You're trying to capture the judiciary, so we must get Martha Koome out of office. These are attempts that the president has tried to do. And let me tell you, all psychopaths of the president will say it is okay, the IG should be there. But let me tell you, we had an IG called Boynet. We never saw him in presidential functions. He served for 4 years, uninterrupted. He did not resign. He served this country with dedication, dealing with different issues of the country. He never followed President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Are we getting to a danger zone? And I'd love for Prof.
Not only danger, it is a very dangerous zone. Remember, I have given you an OB number 32 of October, date 8. That has not been attended to. I reported at Limuru. I have the OB number up to date. The IG, the DCI, offices that are independent, 0. Now, when you see him in a presidential function,
what are the probabilities?
There with Kimani Ichung'wah, with several members of parliament, even with the member for Tigani, and then you expect him not to do what the president wants?
Wait a minute.
An independent police office.
Let's listen to the Right Honourable Raila Odinga as to what he says in relation to what he plans for 2027, and then we come back, respond to, of course, the going of
And I think you should show what Raila said about the markets so that the member for Tigania can see.
Let's listen into
that is not a national government job.
Mr. Director, quickly. Mr. Director, we have that? Okay, please play it.
Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema hatujaingia kwa harusi hii na serikali ili kusaliti wa Kenya. Sisi tumefanya Kenya ni muhimu zaidi kushinda watu binafsi. Wa Kenya mpaka waungane pamoja, wafanye kazi. Wakati uchaguzi ukifika, ODM itakuwa kwa kiwanja. Sio ODM itakuwa kwa kiwanja. Sasa mkifanya uchaguzi wa chama, nataka iwe urafiki. Friendly match. Hapana pigana sana, hapana sukumana, huyu ni ndugu yako. Akichaguliwa, sawa. Kama wewe mchaguliwa ni sawa. Manake chama ni yenu, ama sivyo? Ama sivyo?
All right. Prof, as you weigh in on the IG matter, perhaps this bite tells us the reason as to why we probably did not get to see members of the broad base on the other side joining the president during this particular tour, because definitely that is one thing that we would have expected. And I stand corrected. If there were any actually that joined the president in the tour, then of course you can enlighten us on the same.
Yeah, on the IG, I think the IG made a mistake. And
are there repercussions to it?
no,
It ends there.
it ends there. So you cannot ignore the president.
Is it so?
So the president says, Salimia. So maybe he should just have waved and
Left it at that.
And I'd say nothing.
Okay.
But talking was a mistake on his part. Now, the
Right, Honorable.
the Right Honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, he was always going to be on the 2027 team.
Oh, yeah, you said that sometime
Yes, always.
back. Yeah.
You know, it was clear.
So it's actually not ODM, it is him.
It is him.
Okay.
Now, he has noticed that President Ruto is very vulnerable.
Okay.
He's on the weak side. So he's now coming out. You can see he's even tried to say he's not part of that. You know, he's caught in between. Is he with people or is he with Ruto? So he's caught in between, he doesn't know what to do. So he says, no, I'm with the people, not with him. And, you know, so it is a political game. And Raila is very good at these games. Extremely good.
Okay.
And this is part
We're coming to you, Mahesh.
and this is part of it that we can see. Ruto is vulnerable, and he has received quite a bit of criticism
Okay.
for his behavior in the last 1 year or so. And he's trying to redeem himself to the public by coming out in a different way
Okay.
and saying, "This is you're a spokesman. I'm the one who speaks for you all the time anyway, and I've not done anything wrong. But after all, I'll be there at the ballot.
Ballots.
In the
You
20.
had better know it as early as now.
You know it, so those people, the people who are now hurt with this kind of thing, not even Ruto. So these other people in opposition who thought they might harvest
Okay.
his
The
absence.
process of this.
Yeah, and so those are the ones in problem.
Okay.
But Raila, that's vintage Raila.
Okay, that is vintage Raila.
Yes.
But what does it do to the broad-based government, Mheshimiwa?
Well, before I come to broad-based government,
IG?
allow me to say that, first of all, there is the notion that Uhuru was on the ballot in 2022 around this table. Okay. That's not true. There's nobody who was voting Uhuru. Uhuru's time had come to an end.
He had
He had his, yeah,
the
but
Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
But he did not. He was not seeking for votes himself.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was nowhere on the. So that means people rejected his choice with the reasons. Yes. So we cannot also fully equate that to the situation we have right now, because, and the professor has clearly said it, the people of Mount Kenya did not actually vote William Ruto because of Gachagua.
Okay.
Gachagua was appointed, was given the opportunity to be the running mate towards the end of the campaign.
But were they not the calculations that were made at that point? Nani ametusaidia sana,
What?
nani ametoa resources zake sana?
Let me tell you something. If you asked us,
Okay.
you know, we actually made our proposal.
And
our
the
proposal,
president
Togoya was
acknowledged
there.
that, and yes, the president-
our proposal was not Gachagua.
Okay.
Yes, it is
You are
the
all
president in
against
his
that.
own wisdom who decided, okay, let me have Gachagua instead of the other proposal.
Because maybe
That's
Gachagua
it.
was instrumental
Because his
in
vote was
traversing
already
the mountain?
cast. People had already made a decision to elect him. So he was elected by the Mount Kenya people.
Right.
So the same way he was elected by the Mount Kenya, we cannot rule out the fact that, yes, there may be a few people who may be poisoned by the undercurrents, the negative vibe and so on.
Okay.
They may not be there. But largely, we will have Mount Kenya voting because Mount Kenya does not know how to be in opposition.
Okay.
Not Mount Kenya, especially Mount Kenya West.
No, that's a myth.
That is a myth.
They have always been there. They would like to get more and more of development.
They've always
in their
wanted to be in
backyard.
government.
They've always been in government.
But,
so they don't know what it means.
But they were in
They are not
government
good in
during the
doing
Jubilee government. And they say they did not get anything.
Kidogo sana. A few
Walipata
of
vitu
them.
mingi sana.
Walikuwa wanapata when Uhuru was given to people. Some of us did not get anything, but it was given.
All right, as we come to a close.
No, but at least the two roads. The two roads he talked about, he mentioned they were in Uhuru's government.
Trivializing a national debate onto two roads. I think you should grow up.
All right, let's proceed.
We have a problem with this gentleman. Now, let me say this. I answered about the two roads, and the two roads will be done.
Fair enough.
But they were in Uhuru's government. They were,
of course, they were
back.
not done. There was nothing done in Uhuru's government.
But you should appreciate Uhuru started them.
We did not fund anything.
Let's proceed. To your point.
He did not even, in fact, he withdrew 2 contractors from the... One road was launched by Ruto when he was the deputy president, and Uhuru made sure there was no money.
All right, what was your other point?
So my final issue is this, that I think it is important for us to look at what is happening right now as part of our development process. We have not come to the electioneering time. And nobody has made a decision on where to take their vote at this particular point in time.
Okay.
Everybody is gambling. Whoever it is will come up with his own proposal, and then Kenyans will ask, what is really, people mark their leaders.
Okay.
Yeah, they will say, when you are there as vice president or deputy president for 2 years, what did you do in our village? One small thing that you did, maybe nothing. Then, of course, others will come and try their own, Now, the final thing I want to say is that the president launched many projects which are funded by the national government. Okay. The project in my village was actually 100% funded. This term, in this administration, 100% funded and stocked by the national government. So I don't know where the honorable member lives. I think he lives in Masailand, which Kajiado, which does not inform him significantly. He needs to get informed. The final thing is that when it comes to voting, let us not confuse these issues. When it comes to making a decision of who is supposed to sit in the highest seat in this country, people will clearly choose from their conscience. They will not choose from emotion. They will not choose from hearsay. Not from social media releases.
All right.
No, it will not be that.
Good enough. Strictly 30 seconds for each of you, gentlemen, to give us your parting shots.
William Ruto must go. He must go, and he must go.
Interesting.
William Ruto is not development conscious. He does not have an active project. He commits when he knows very well there is no funding, and we will remove him constitutionally through the ballot.
2027.
In 2027, and William Ruto must go. We must get a president and a CEO of this country who is conscious to development, somebody who believes in the country, a reason for people being cohesive, because he is not.
Fair enough. Professor Macharia Munene.
Well, it's been an interesting discussion. I think I will insist the mountain is not with Ruto.
Okay.
At present. Whether that might change in the next 2 years, I don't know. But at present, it is not with the Ruto. And we saw this campaign. This was a campaign.
The crowds.
These were managed.
They don't speak anything.
These were managed. Okay. We know that. And despite Mheshimiwa's denial.
No, but this year, I will give everybody 1,000. Can he produce a single person and give 1,000?
So
he talks like he lives in my backyard. Why does he say so and so? Let me call him.
Let's allow Prof.
Lying will not help you.
I think next time we need to come with evidence. I'll carry the evidence.
It is necessary.
Especially for Tigania West.
It is Prof's time, yes.
Yes, and the reality is that anything can happen.
Okay.
In between.
Now and 2027.
And 2027. And as I said before, not once, Raila will be a candidate in 2027.
ODM will field Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting to watch. Mheshimiwa, I don't think you need 30 seconds. You have already prosecuted your matters, yeah?
No. Let me say that the presidential tour of Mount Kenya is part of his business. Yeah. Visiting his people, listening to their problems, and trying to try to fuel development to move faster. Because when he visits a region and finds that things have not moved so far from where he left, he will definitely ask what happened. So I think the tour was important. Yes, it was planned. We sat down and agreed. on where the president would go. He would not have gone everywhere because we have 10 counties. Yes. And he could not have basically, inspected every project that there is. He inspected those that we thought were, necessary.
Yes.
And this time around, I can assure you the president did not promise anything that he is not sure of.
Okay, interesting.
One small thing.
Not a single one.
Just one small thing. Just one. I think it is very unfortunate for the government to appear to be sponsoring goons.
Okay.
To appear.
Okay.
It's actually
to be alleged.
It's an allegation as it stands.
Let me say it's an allegation.
Professor,
it is extremely wrong for anybody to allege that the government is without evidence.
Thank you.
And that is the narrative within
Dr. John
Gachagua
Member of Parliament, Igania West, as well as Professor Macharia Munene, political historian, and Ngogoyo Onesimus, Member of Parliament, Kajiado North. Thank you so much for the great insights. We look forward to host you some more, even as we continue to have a discourse as to where we take the nation. My name is Linda Alela. It was great having you, appreciating the entire team for taking us all the way up until this point, and you back at home for the immense feedback that unfortunately we would not go through. But we look forward to see you again next Sunday. And of course, it's a pleasure to have yourself a lovely week ahead.